Ryan here with another quick play, and I want to ask you, do you own or do you rent? And this is in the context of your online presence, the various touch points that you have online where you can connect with your customers. And what I want you to understand is that you should have both. You should both own and rent. So let's dive into this. So the first one is your website, which would be the center of your online hub. Ultimately, your website is owned by you. You're in control of it. It can be big, it can be small, it can be red, it can be orange. It's branded to your organization. You can choose what type of functionality you have on that. And it's a very simple or a very dynamic website. You're in full control of that. Now that's the center of your online presence, the hub. Now in a hub and spoke model, imagine there being spokes going off that represent additional touch points for you to connect with your customers online. So what are some of those touch points? Think about social media, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. So let's just choose one of those, Facebook. Do you own or do you rent your spot on Facebook? And if you're being honest, you actually rent that. You're not in control. You're not the landlord, you're the tenant. You have to play by Facebook's rules. It's going to be blue and white, there's going to be a news feed, and there's going to be a certain place where you can put your information. And if you want a new feature or function, that's not how it works. You have to play by their rules and use their functionality. Now, compared to your website where you own that, you are renting your space over on Facebook. It's a very powerful platform, but let's say you're not in control. Let's move on over to Instagram, same story. You're renting that. So let's get out of social media and talk about search engines. Google, for example. Google has a built-in directory called Google My Business. It's one of the many features of its search engine, its map, its directory, etc. Same story. You are renting it there. You can create a directory listing for your company. It's very powerful. It'll help you to become more discovered in search, but ultimately you're playing in a place where you're renting it. You're playing by their rules. It's going to be structured and the functionality will be set by Google. So it's really important to manage both your owned and your rented touch points online. And generally speaking, what you want to do is you'll think of those rented touch points, the spokes on the hub, as those touch points where you'll discover, where you'll connect, where customers will be able to find you. But ultimately, you want to be directing them to your website where you own that experience, where you can control the messaging, where you can add the functionality that you want, which may be e-commerce or it might be informational. Ultimately, you're going to want to drive a certain call to action, a certain conversion, something that you want to achieve once people have been driven to your owned website, which is the center of your online hub. Hope that's helpful. Cheers.